divinely prophesied. This total lunar eclipse will open a miraculous spiritual portal in 2025. In the heart of an unassuming English village, a spectacular event was on the horizon, a total lunar eclipse that would, according to Mary, divine messages from above, unveil incredible miracles. The evening air vibrated with anticipation. Flickering candlelight filled the room, casting a warm glow on the faces of devoted family and friends. They gathered, heads bowed in deep devotion. Mary, a single mother in her 30s, raised her voice, trembling with faith, "Saint Margaret, bless us." The atmosphere crackled with divine expectancy. Suddenly, in the depths of her prayer, a vision engulfed her. The heavens burst asunder, and radiant light flooded her mind. Hope shall pour over our village like rain, a deluge of healing and unity, she declared, her spirit soaring. The careful distinction of the moon eclipsing the sun transformed into a glorious portal of divine intervention. The villagers around her gasped, eyes widened, hearts pounding. Could it be true? Her words felt sacred, inexplicably entwined with the very fabric of their lives. Yet, not every heart echoed her faith. Thomas, the village school teacher, stood as a bastion of skepticism with logic as his armor. It's mere superstition, he thundered when word of Mary's vision spread. He valued facts, his demeanor resonating with stern rationality. In heated debates, shadows of doubt crept into conversations. What evidence do we have? He pushed, challenging Mary's divine certainty. Even amidst illness and heartache swirling around them, Mary's assurances collided with Thomas's firm convictions, pitting them against one another. As the eclipse neared, Mary's fervor deepened. Daily prayers became lifelines. Her heart grew heavier with every whispered plea for healing. Then came devastating news. A local family lost a cherished member, rippling despair through the community. Meanwhile, Thomas opted for a secular celebration, an astronomy night he believed would enlighten and isolate Mary's unfounded fantasies. But even as the sun and moon prepared for their dance, something felt decidedly empty within the village. The predicted night arrived cloaked in a sly silence. The moon began its slow embrace of the sun, shadows creeping like phantoms. Mary, unwavering, gathered her steadfast supporters. They huddled together in their own sacred circle, hearts ablaze with hope, voices uplifted to the heavens. "God's mercy upon us," they cried, their faith rising like incense. Just then, as shadows thickened, something remarkable happened. At the eclipse's totality, miracles unfolded. A child who had been bedridden for years sprang to life, laughter spilling forth like a rushing river. Others stepped forth, claiming healing from grievous burdens. Mary felt an overflowing peace enhance her spirit, enveloping the village in warmth and light as joy rippled through the gathering. But Thomas, rooted at the edge, witnessed this divine blossoming. His mind wrestled, skepticism confronted by the inexplicable. His heart pounded as the miraculous danced before him, shaking the very ground of his logic. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As the eclipse cast a dramatic interplay of light and shadow, villagers, breath held in collective awe, turned to Thomas, yearning for a sign of belief. Would he embrace faith or retreat into his understanding of reality? The village was hung in suspense, brimming with divine mystery. The night promised transformation, leaving hearts racing and eyes glistening. What would emerge from the shadows of doubt and into the light of hope? The answer lingered, an electric pause in the cool air, as the moon glowed softly, waiting for Thomas's choice to unfold. The stillness of the night swelled with unuttered prayers and breathless anticipation. Mary, her face illuminated by the soft glow of candlelight, felt a divine warmth pulse through her. She turned and caught the gaze of her young son, Jacob, who stood beside her, his wide eyes mirroring the hope that filled her heart. "Mummy," he whispered, almost reverently, "will everyone really be healed? Will we see St. Margaret tonight?" Mary knelt down next to him, placing a gentle hand on his cheek. "Faith is a powerful thing, my love. When we believe, we open the door for miracles." She looked toward the sky, where the moon began its slow dance with the sun, a cosmic spectacle of love and light woven into the fabric of creation. Thomas stood at the fringes, his heart battling the tempest of doubt and wonder. He felt the pull of the extraordinary, yet his mind clung vehemently to the known. As the first shadows embraced the bright orb of the sun, there was a shift, a resonance of something unworldly had unfurled itself within the quiet of his heart. Could he silently dismiss the joy lighting up the faces around him? The laughter of children, so vibrant and freeing, was like music from the heavens above. As the eclipse deepened, Mary raised her arms to the heavens. "Lord, pour out your mercy upon our village. We are ready for your touch." A chorus arose around her, voices melding into a sweet symphony of devotion. With every uttered prayer, Mary noticed the tremors of hope ripple through their circle, the palpable energy of collective faith growing stronger. Just then, as if the very air between them had thickened with divine expectancy, a sudden wind swept through the gathering. It stirred the leaves of the nearby trees and sent shivers of excitement down their spines. Some villagers gasped, sensing the presence of something sacred. Thomas felt a jolt. The atmosphere was charged electric. Every logical explanation slipped away, and in its place blossomed something profoundly unsettling. He inched closer to the circle, curiosity igniting within him. Gazing into the faces of his neighbors, he saw not desperation, but a fierce faith. Their joy reignited memories of his own youthful belief, a flicker of a flame he desperately wished to reignite. Then, as the moon fully masked the sun, a breath of silence fell upon the crowd. Darkness engulfed them, yet within that veil of shadow, a brilliant light burst forth. In that moment, time slowed, and the energy lifted them. The heavens splashed forth shimmering stars, painting ethereal tapestries in the darkness. Mary felt it first, a wave of warmth coursing through her being, as if every joyful moment, every prayer flowed through her and into the hearts of those assembled. She turned to Thomas, whose brow was furrowed, a man at war within himself. "It's happening, Thomas," she called to him, voice ringing with unwavering belief. "God is here. Can you feel it?" Thomas stood frozen as the child's laughter permeated the air, buoyed by innocence and divine grace. It wrenched at his heart, awakened something long buried. Was this the true miracle, not just the healings unfolding before him, but the stirring within his own spirit? As the village bathed in the otherworldly light, a shiver of recognition washed over Thomas. What if the thought flickered, echoing deep within him? But would he take that step? Would he surrender himself to this moment of divine invitation? As the moon's return journey began, a pivotal choice loomed on the horizon. In this sacred stillness, hearts reached out in unison. Whispers of miracles and grace intertwined like threads of a beautiful tapestry. But what new revelations awaited him, and would he embrace them? The air hung thick with promise, and the night stretched on, alive with unspoken possibilities. What would emerge as dawn broke over their village, and how would Thomas's choice resonate through the coming days? Only time would unveil the answers. The celestial light continued to weave through the darkness, a divine tapestry drawing every gaze heavenward. Mary closed her eyes, inhaling deeply. Each breath felt saturated with blessings, wafting through and wrapping around her like an embrace of love. She held onto that warmth, willing everyone around her to feel it too. Jacob, sensing his mother's spirit brightening, tugged gently at her sleeve. "Mummy, why is it so beautiful?" His question hung delicately like the glimmering stars above. "It is the grace of God, my love," Mary replied, her voice soft yet assured. "He shows us his love in ways we might not understand, but our hearts know it to be true." Thomas, still grappling with his own inner turmoil, drew closer, drawn to the overflowing warmth radiating from Mary and her son. The air felt different now, alive, electric like a whisper of life, urging him to let go of what held him back. Just then, a voice broke through the hush, a voice that resonated with undeniable authority. "Fear not, my children." It was old Miriam, the village matriarch, known for her deep wisdom and connection with the spiritual. She stood tall, her hands raised as if cradling the very light that enveloped them all. "The Lord sees you. He hears your cries. This night, he will turn this eclipse into a moment of transformation." Her words surged through the gathering like a river breaking dam. A wave of murmurs followed. Each soul gripped by the promise murmured from her lips. "Will it be true? Will the sick be healed?" Someone asked, their voice trembling with a blend of hope and skepticism. "Look around you," Miriam proclaimed, her eyes sparkling with fervor. "The heavens declare his glory. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot comprehend it." As the villagers exchanged glances, a few began to step towards the center, courage surging within them. They shared their stories of suffering, of longing, and of dreams wrapped in layers of despair. With each testimony, an atmosphere of divine grace deepened, pulling them closer together. Thomas found himself drawn into the conversation. His heart raced as more and more people spoke of their burdens, the ill and heartbroken, the lost and lonely. He felt their pain, but also a whisper within him urging him to step forward. Could this be the moment he too had longed for? With the moon's glow softly illuminating their faces, he felt a spark ignite within. "I don't want to remain a bystander," he spoke, his voice trembling at first, then growing bolder. "I want to believe. Heal us, Lord. I'm ready." A hush fell again, this time charged with anticipation. Mary beamed at him, tears glistening in her eyes, her heart swelling with the joy of a mother witnessing a miracle unfold. "Let us pray together, brothers and sisters," she encouraged, clasping Jacob's hand tightly. Lifting their voices as one, they called out, pleading for the light to shine upon their needs. As their collective hearts unified in prayer, the light around them began to pulse, shifting like a living promise. The darkness trembled as slivers of hope danced within their cries. Then came a moment of stillness as a small girl, barely 5, broke through the circle, eyes wide with awe. She raised her hands toward the sky. "I can see him," she shouted, beaming with joy. That ignited a wave of gasps, and each heart danced to the rhythm of wonder. What is she seeing? Thomas thought. What does her innocent gaze see that my grown eyes cannot? In that captivating instant, as the last traces of moonlight eclipsed the sun, a magnificent glow pierced through. The light brought warmth, illuminating fears, unveiling hidden hopes. Thomas felt his walls begin to crumble, the sacred moment pulling him closer to whatever was waiting beyond. As the stars shimmered brighter and an insatiable yearning unfurled within him, Thomas realized something profound was touching him. Could it be his moment of divine transformation? Would he fully embrace faith or linger on the edge, caught between worlds? And in that living light, hope permeated the air as they awaited God's answer to their spirits' unquenchable thirst. What breakthrough would arise as dawn crept closer? What prayers would be answered by the God they dared to believe in? Thomas stood transfixed, the glow washing over him like a balm, thawing the icy grip of doubt he had clung to for far too long. The small girl, her eyes wide with unfiltered wonder, seemed to hold the essence of pure faith. He wondered, could he see what she saw? Could the same light that illuminated her little face also light up his weary heart. The murmurs of the crowd swirled around him, as if drawing him deeper into this sacred moment. They united in one breath, one purpose, a resounding call echoing through the ages. It was a cry for healing, for clarity, for hope. Each declaration felt visceral, as if woven into the fabric of the universe itself. Miriam began to sway gently, her hands still raised, as she led the congregation in prayer. "O Lord, we beseech thee for thy mercy. Let thy miracles flow." Her voice rose and fell like a tide, inviting all to ride its wave. Mary squeezed Jacob's hand a little tighter, her voice joining the chorus. "Feel the presence of our Creator. Trust in his embrace." Thomas felt the electrical pulse growing stronger, a current of energy like he had never felt before. It coursed through him, sending tingles up his spine. He closed his eyes, inhaling deeply, allowing the light to fill the dark corners of his heart. He repeated softly, "Lord, I want to believe." In that instant of fervent wish, a whisper brushed against his soul. "Look beyond," it urged, as though urging him to cast aside the veils of doubt that held him captive. Suddenly, the little girl exclaimed again, "There he is!" She pointed. Her small finger trembled with excitement. "Who?" someone asked, searching the vastness above. "The bright one," she cried out, joy exploding from her, infectious and pure. "He is here with us." He is smiling, and there was a luminous figure, radiating warmth and light beyond comprehension. Thomas could almost see what the child perceived in her innocence, yet remained elusive to his adult mind. It sparked in him a flicker of hope, one that battled against years of skepticism. The villagers naturally gravitated toward this vision, their faith igniting like tinder. "He is with us." The whispers grew fervent. "We are not alone." As they looked up, the weight of their fears seemed to lift, dispelling shadows that had lingered for too long. Mary felt the weight of the world shift from her shoulders. There was an audible shift in the air, the kind that accompanies transformation. Old Miriam, sensing the shift, proclaimed, "This eclipse is a sacred passage, my dear ones. Every prayer, every ardent plea, forms a bridge to the divine." Thomas clenched his fists, channeling every ounce of faith he could muster. He felt connected to something greater, a celestial web, binding each soul present with the infinite. And then it hit him like a soft rain after a long drought. This moment was etched in the fabric of eternity. As prayers rose higher, the light tightened around them, a cocoon of splendor. "When the sun rises in the morning, may we awaken to miracles," pleaded a voice from the back. Yet, amidst the fervor, a flicker of uncertainty poked through the warm glow. Would any of this reach beyond the horizon, beyond the hearts of those gathered? As anticipation thickened, Miriam's voice cut through the sea of prayer with clarity. "Prepare your hearts, for the light shall show us our path forward." But be warned, the tension escalated, the congregation holding its breath as they awaited Miriam's next words. Not all transformations come as we wish. Sometimes in surrender lies the greatest gifts. With that, the atmosphere crackled, alive with possibility. Thomas found himself hanging on those final words, deep within his heart, stirring a question he had yet to dare ask. What if the transformation he sought would shatter his very understanding of who he was? The eclipse approached its peak, and as shadows danced, all hearts were suspended in divine suspense. What revelation would be granted as day kissed night away? What was the next step in this unfolding? Would they find their way through the darkness into the light they had longed for? As the eclipse reached its zenith, the world around Thomas transformed. The sky darkened in an embrace of twilight, painting a surreal backdrop for what felt like a sacred convergence. The stars twinkled into visibility, witnessing this celestial event along with the gathered faithful. Thomas opened his eyes, letting the shadows of uncertainty fade as a sense of wonder flooded his heart. "I feel it," he whispered, half to himself, half to the heavens. "Tension and release, something is about to change." Suddenly, the luminous figure that the little girl saw seemed to shine even brighter, illuminating the faces of the shadowed crowd. It pulsed with warmth and familiarity, a presence that beckoned yet grounded him at the same time. He felt a heartbeat synchronizing with his own, a divine rhythm thumping in the stillness. Miriam's voice rang out again, clarifying the unearthly silence. "Beloved, the veil is thin tonight," she called, her eyes fierce with revelation. "Open your spirits. The divine beckons. Seek him, for he is present." The intensity of her words stirred a wave of courage among the people. Mary, feeling emboldened, stepped forward. "Let us be as children, unafraid to seek the light. In the depths of our yearning, there is grace." A murmur rippled through the crowd. They began to step forward, each heart aligning as one. Thomas could feel his own heart pounding. With eyes fixed upward, he breathed in the evening's possibilities. Could he truly let go of his burdens, allow this moment to reshape everything he thought he knew? "Trust," Miriam urged again, her hands guiding them as if she were a conductor, orchestrating their faith. "As we commune with the energies of the cosmos, remember that love knows no bounds." The Creator's arms are open wide. A radiant warmth settled over them as prayers morphed into joyous songs, lifting their spirits higher. Joyous anticipation filled the air with beautiful harmony. Each note radiated, reverberating like echoes through time, inspiring silent prayers and unvoiced dreams. Yet, Thomas wrestled with the shadows intertwined in his mind. What if I'm not enough? He felt the memories of past failures surge, but hope throbbed deeper. Wasn't he now the time to let go? Wasn't he this sacred eclipse a chance to embrace vulnerability? The little girl clutched her mother's hand tightly, her face aglow. "Can you feel him now? He wants us to release our fears." Her innocent voice sliced through Thomas's turmoil, a whisper of clarity reflecting back his own struggles. "He loves us, loves you." In that, a hush fell over the congregation as if the very cosmos held its breath. Thomas felt the warmth of the light enveloping him, draping over his shoulders like a comforting shawl. In that moment, clarity washed over him. The fears that had tangled his heart began to unwind, thread by thread. He looked around and saw that he was not alone in his awakening. Others stood at the brink of their own transformations, their faces painted with the sacred glow of realized hope. The luminous figure above pulsed with vibrant energy, and Thomas felt an urge, a draw that invited him deeper into this moment. What if surrender held the key to an awakening he had long sought? A whisper of promise lingered in the air, dancing in sync with the heartbeat of creation. "Embrace the change," Mary exclaimed, her voice free and full of conviction. "Let the light wash over you. Let it illuminate the darkest corners of your spirit." Her words struck Thomas like a note from a harp, resonating deep within his soul. He believed her. As they all took another step forward, an electric charge surged through their number. The air around them pulsed with the music of the cosmos, vibrant and alive. He could sense a symphony building, voices harmonizing, hearts aligning, and amidst it all, he felt a flickering flame ignite in his chest. Miriam twirled her arms in the air, guiding the faithful like a lighthouse beacon amidst a storm. "Do not hold back," she proclaimed, her voice rising above the melody. "Let the doubts dissolve. We are entering a realm where miracles abound. What do you desire to release?" The question lingered like an echo in the collective soul. Thomas pondered, his heart racing. "I want to be free from my past," slipped silently into his thoughts, the longing for liberation filling the void. As if in response to his silent plea, the figure above unfurled in a cascade of brilliant light, each ray extending like fingers inviting them into a sacred embrace. Violet, gold, and silver threads wove through the space, creating a tapestry of divine connection. It was more than an eclipse. It was an invitation, a dance of creation and awakening. The crowd exhaled, a collective breath shared, as individuals began to articulate their hopes, fears, and dreams aloud. Voices intertwined, wrapping around each other like vines growing toward the sun. I release anxiety. I let go of grief. I embrace my purpose. With each declaration, another ray from above ignited with fervor, splashing them with bursts of hope. Thomas watched in awe, the scene unfolding beautifully as flickers of healing and joy danced through the air. This was not merely about personal transformation. The entire gathering was being lifted as one, collective spirits soaring higher with each step of trust taken. He stepped into the warmth of the blinding light, fully aware now that he was deserving of the change awaiting him. Suddenly, a deep rumble echoed from within the earth, and the ground beneath quaked gently, as if reacting to the divine explosion of faith. The vibrations intertwined with the heartbeats of the people, a reminder of the unity of spirit. "Look," Miriam shouted, pointing to the skies where the heavens shimmered with an unimaginable array of colors. "The veil is lifting. We are witnesses to the unfolding miracle." Thomas felt tears streaming down his face, but they were not of sorrow. Hope pure and unfiltered effervesced within him. The gentle reminder floated back to him, perhaps from the figure above. Every step taken in faith brings you closer. As the light began to shift, shimmering with the promise of new beginnings, Thomas found himself entranced. What awaits us on the other side? He wondered. The very air seemed to buzz, charged with anticipation, inviting questions yet to be answered and treasures yet to be discovered. Would he cross that threshold into a new way of being? What would be on the horizon as they embraced the miraculous? Each flicker of light held mystery, whispering of divine secrets yet to unfold. A deep sense of unity settled over the congregation as the brilliant light cast an ethereal glow upon them. Radiating warmth embraced each individual, binding them together like stars in a constellation, creating a masterpiece of divine connection. Thomas stood at the threshold, heart racing, brimming with newfound hope, and yet a subtle fear flickered within him. "Together, we step into the unknown," Miriam called, her voice soaring with fervor. "What awaits us is beyond our wildest dreams." The words stirred something within Thomas, a yearning so profound that it sent a shiver down his spine. Could it really be true? Was it possible that the chaos of the past was about to transform into a vibrant future? Faith filled the air, wrapping around him, lifting him higher. As if responding to the collective energy, the light above shimmered, twisting in colors he had never seen, a dance of purple, gold, and indigo. "Do not shy away from your light," Mary encouraged those around her. "This is our moment to shine, to be reborn." At that moment, a murmur spread through the crowd, rippling like waves across the ocean. Each person began to share their stories, their struggles and triumphs intertwining like threads of a tapestry. "I release doubt," echoed one voice. "I let go of fear," cried another. Thomas felt that flickering flame inside him grow, a commitment to be part of this collective shift. Suddenly, the atmosphere thickened, pregnant with anticipation. The very ground quaked gently beneath their feet, a reminder that even the earth recognized the transformation in progress. Thomas glanced at the sky, where the veil of light continued to part, revealing the vastness of the divine. "Let your spirit rise," shouted Miriam, and with her command, the air hummed with the energy of each heart uniting, breaking free from personal confines. Are we truly ready? Thomas pondered as he glanced back at his companions, their faces alive with excitement, their eyes glimmering with the reflection of the light above. What else must we release? Every encumbering chain must dissolve to step boldly forward. Another voice added, one that Thomas didn't initially recognize. It felt as if spirits were awakening all around him, coaxing them into the divine dance of freedom and liberation. As Thomas refocused on the dazzling figure above, a serene peace enveloped him. He felt his worries dissolve like mist in the morning sun. "I release my past," he whispered, bravely exhaling the weight of old burdens. It was a leap of faith, an act of surrender that resonated deep in his soul. Each word spoken seemed to summon a cascade of light. He could see it, an intricate web spinning, weaving their prayers into a greater purpose. Colors dancing, illuminating skies, showering them with promises unspoken. The shift was palpable and profound. "I can feel it," he cried, filled with elation, tears of joy rolling down his cheeks. "Change is here, not just for me, but for all of us." With renewed strength, Thomas reached out to his community, feeling the electric connection surge through him as their hands met, creating a living chain of hope stretching toward the heavens. Together, they had become a conduit for divine energy, and within that circle, their futures intertwined in beautiful mystery. The light pulsed in rhythm with their hearts, and they stood at the edge of something monumental. Will we step through this threshold together? He wondered, his spirit alight with possibility. As Thomas held his breath in anticipation, he realized that the waiting was the invitation to leap, to trust, even in uncertainty. What treasures await us beyond this luminous portal? He mused, feeling the dance of excitement rise anew. With every moment ticking closer to revelation, the congregation held each other tightly, ready to embrace whatever awaited them on the other side. And then he felt a gentle breeze flowing through everyone like a whisper from eternity itself. A voice within him, clear and true, echoed, "The journey is just beginning. What would that journey unlock? What new revelations lay waiting in that light?" As the breeze caressed their skin, an electric charge filled the air around Thomas and his companions. The whispers of eternity danced along their souls, painting dreams of what could unfold. Each breath deepened their connection, the sweet hum of hope harmonizing with their hearts. Suddenly, the light above pulsed, strong and vibrant. Colors twirled like dancers, swirling together to form patterns that told stories of healing, of love, of faith ignited. Thomas's heart raced. What this divine tapestry revealed felt like a promise spilling into the world. "The portal is near," Miriam exclaimed, her voice filled with fervent urgency. "What we seek is upon us. Place your trust in the divine expression of our unity." As if the heavens responded to her words, the luminous sky dimmed for a brief moment as sacred hush settled over the congregation, wrapping them in silence. Every eye turned upward, breaths held, waiting to witness the miracle of their awaited transformation. Is this real? Thomas thought. What did it mean to stand at the precipice of change, to align his heart with the divine and his brothers and sisters? Conflicting emotions swirled within him, anticipation battling skepticism, joy entwined with fear. Unbeknownst to Thomas, his thoughts reverberated through the gathering. The atmosphere shimmered in response. Others began to feel it too. Ripples of hesitation faded, replaced by courage and faith. Voices rose, softly at first, then with growing conviction. "I trust the journey," one declared, and another echoed, "I embrace the unknown." Thomas felt the love radiating from each word, as if their declarations wove a protective blanket around them, shielding them from doubt, inviting them into already unfolding miracles. The dazzling lights overhead shifted, revealing glimmers of gold that danced like stars on the surface of a tranquil sea. A mounting energy surged through the congregation. They swayed, connected not just by hands but by hearts. "Together we will cross," Thomas finally affirmed, his voice steady and empowered. "Together we will find our way." Those words unleashed a wave of elation throughout the crowd, their collective faith garnering strength. An internal chorus of yes blossomed, uplifting their spirits. But as bright as the moment felt, shadows lingered in the corner of his mind, a nagging question. What must we still let go? He sensed remnants of darkness still clinging, wrestling with their light. Was he ready to sever those final ties? The question belonged not only to him, but echoed throughout the congregation. Mary took a deep breath, drawing the attention of the group. Just as we embrace the light, we must also surrender the shadows. Lay down your burdens, friends. Let us walk into the unknown untouched by fear. A collective pause fell over them. He could see the apprehension flickering in their eyes, mixed with determination. With each exhalation, a path opened to release burdens of painful past, disappointment, guilt. I release my regrets, murmured one voice, gentle yet firm. I surrender my anger. Another followed, stronger, emboldened. As these words tumbled forth, the fabric of their fears unraveled, allowing the light above to surge even brighter. A warmth enveloped Thomas as he joined the chorus, voicing his own burdens, casting them to the heavens. I let go of the past, he shouted, the weight flowing off his shoulders like leaves carried by the wind. In that moment, something extraordinary shifted. The air crackled, and a sudden gust swept through the gathering, and Thomas felt an indescribable freedom. It was then that the light flared, shimmering shades of eternity enveloping them, and he understood. They were not merely stepping into something new. They were being liberated to embody something spectacular. As each heart beat in synchrony, he knew they stood on the brink of revelation, the shining doorway before them pulsating with hope and promise. But even as the air thickened with expectation, questions lingered in Thomas's heart. Could this truly lead to a new beginning? What awaited them on the other side? With joyful anticipation, the congregation prepared to leap together. But just before they could, a rumble echoed through the ground, a promise and a challenge. The portal awaited their decision, and a transcendent test loomed ahead. Would they embrace the unknown, knowing they might be transformed forever? The earth trembled beneath their feet as the rumble intensified, a deep, resonant heartbeat that seemed to carry echoes of ancient wisdom. Thomas looked around, catching the anxious glances of his companions, each face illuminated by the dancing lights above. They were standing on sacred ground, a ground that was alive with the promise of transformation. The luminous portal flickered with urgency, inviting them closer, yet something primal within him hesitated. Wasn't this what they had sought? Yet, the weight of the moment pressed against his spirit, forming a knot in his stomach. Thomas, Miriam spoke gently, sensing his turmoil. Do not fear the test before us. We have prepared for this. It is in our unity that we find strength. Her words resonated like a soothing balm against his inner struggle. What was fear but a shadow demanding his attention? Each heartbeat urged him to trust, to take that leap. Yet, he could not silence the questions swirling within. What if the transformation came at a cost? What if they were to face trials unlike any they'd known? Drawing a deep breath, he turned his gaze skyward. The portal pulsed with inviting brilliance, tangible energy crackling in the air, reaching toward the very essence of their souls. It beckoned for their faith, for their unwavering belief in what lay on the other side. He joined hands with Mary and others nearby, feeling their warmth blend with his. We are one, he whispered. Together, we step forward. As he spoke, their hands tightened, pulses of courage intertwining. With a collective chant, voices surged, forming a harmonious wave that lifted the atmosphere. We will embrace this change. Around them, vibrant colors fused and expanded, swirling in a dazzling dance of faith and light. The doubts began to shift like clouds parting in the dawn. Thomas felt a surge of strength rise within him. They would cross. They would leap. Suddenly, the light dimmed. Shadows swirled like wisps of smoke, creating uncertainty that trickled into the edges of their resolve. Remember, Mary urged, her voice steady, every shadow has its place. It exists to show us the light. In that moment, Thomas understood that it was not merely about facing the unknown. It was about understanding the fear, embracing it, and transcending it. The shadows needed acknowledgement, not suppression. Together, he proclaimed, we will face the shadows. We will emerge transformed. A ripple of agreement washed through the crowd, faces reflecting the resolve. As one, they inhaled deeply, merging every doubt and fear into a collective breath. And then it happened. The ground beneath their feet vibrated even more ferociously, and the brilliant light of the portal exploded outward. It enveloped them in warmth, urging them to step closer, compelling them toward the truth they sought. In that moment of decision, Thomas felt the layers of his own soul peel back. Memories surged, moments of despair, of judgment, of fear. But alongside them came the memories of grace, love, and miracles that had blossomed in his life. Would he allow both to coexist? Would he allow transformation to happen? The air buzzed with electric potential, and time felt suspended. The energy, as they leapt into the radiant embrace of the portal, a wave of warmth and divine essence enveloped them, transcending their earthly constraints. Sounds of jubilant laughter echoed, harmonizing with the pulsing rhythm of their united hearts. It was not simply a crossing, it was a profound awakening. Thomas felt as if he was being pulled into a cosmic dream, colors and sensations intertwining around him like threads of gold. He let go. His doubts, his fears, all melted away, replaced by an overflow of joy that felt as if it would burst from his very being. When at last the swirl of light began to settle, they found themselves standing in a field lush with vibrant flowers, hues brighter than he had ever witnessed. The air shimmered with a golden light, where every blade of grass danced. Every petal glimmered, a testimony of resurrection. They had crossed over together, emerging as new creations bathed in divine love. Mary's eyes sparkled, tears of gratitude spilling from them. "Look at what God has done," she exclaimed, her voice thick with emotion. All around them, smiles erupted into cheers, and hearts danced with pure exhilaration. They were witnesses to their own transformation. Thomas looked around, astonished. Faces that just moments ago wore uncertainty now glowed with a warmth that transcended this reality. Old Miriam seemed rejuvenated, her presence radiant. "Behold the fruit of faith. Here, nothing is impossible," she declared, arms raised high as the sun shone brightly overhead. In that moment, divine whispers flowed like a gentle breeze, the presence of angels surrounding them, guiding them deeper into a reality woven together by grace and hope. Thomas felt a surge of belonging, a recognition of purpose unfurling within him. The shadows that had tried to define him faded into distant memories, no longer feared. One by one, they began to share what they felt deep in their hearts. "I was healed," someone shouted, joy sparking through the crowd. "I found courage," cried another. Each declaration rippled through the air, intertwining with the vibrant energy that enveloped them. Thomas felt the heaviness he had carried for so long lifting, and moments of doubt flickered like fading stars behind him. It was a choice. The surrender to belief had opened the floodgates of miracle. As the congregation's voices swelled in unity, he found himself kneeling on the soft earth, overwhelmed by the beautiful transformation around him. "God, I trust you." His voice reverberated in the very essence of their gathering, spiritual gravity tugging at his heartstrings anew. "Thank you for this gift of faith." The laughter of children rang through the air, and Thomas witnessed the little girl, the same one who had seen the light bounding about, reveling in joy without a trace of fear. She turned toward him, her small hands extended as if to say, "Come, join us in the play of the divine." In that pure moment, Thomas understood. The light they had felt was not just a force. It was a call to live holy, to embrace every moment. It was the essence of God shining through each other. He rose, eyes ablaze with newfound freedom. Old fears dissolved, clarity replaced uncertainty, and connection melded them together, an intricate tapestry of love and divine provision. The sky shifted hues, and with it came an unmistakable voice, a gentle whisper that rolled like thunder within him. "This is but the beginning, my beloved. You're called to share this love. Be my hands, my heart." What truth! What a revelation! Thomas's heart soared. He felt the foundations of his life shifting beneath him. "Will you serve?" echoed in the expanse around him. And as he turned, he saw his neighbors, each transformed, standing shoulder to shoulder, eyes radiant with the same spirit. A reverent pause danced among them, heavy with potential. Yes, they all breathed, connecting on an even deeper level. Let us be emissaries of this light, Mary prompted, heart beating with sacred urgency. Let our stories build bridges of hope. And with renewed fervor, they began to weave their own testimonies. Each heart as spark illuminating the path ahead. Thomas nodded in agreement, a fierce determination swelling within him. We carry this blessing back to our village. Together, we shall illuminate every shadow, every doubt. We will be the voice of truth. The sacred transformation had come full circle. The eclipse was not merely an event. It was the gateway into their true calling. Empowered, they clasped hands, forming a vast circle of faith and unity. The sun shone brighter, revealing a path leading back to where they had emerged. Could it be? Yes. It was time to step forward, not only promising miracles for themselves, but for their community. As they walked hand in hand, laughter and gratitude soaring higher than ever, a new chapter unfurled with every step they took. They faced the village, together, hearts aligned for the peace and love that would ripple through their lives, igniting faith and hope for all. United, they stepped boldly into the lives waiting for them, a stellar collective poised to inspire, uplift, and love fiercely. Indeed, the night had become a moment of divine possibility and forever changed everything, reminding them that even the darkest shadows yield to the light of faith. Now, dear ones, carry this message into your lives. You need to subscribe now for more miraculous stories like this. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share the joy with others. Don't wait even one more second to comment about your reactions. Your testimonies matter. Share this powerful experience instantly with at least 5 friends who need to witness this divine manifestation unfold in their lives. We are the light bearers. Let's illuminate the world together.